Welcome back, Chelsea fans, to another special episode with Joe Cole, part 2 this time.
Yes, yeah.
We're not in sunny Florida, we're actually in rainy Boston.
Yeah,
a little different.
Yeah, we're old friends now. Maybe I can join the team if I come out here. Who knows?
We could probably squeeze some room in.
I think there's room,
Yeah.
Maybe a special segment. I actually heard before we kind of started recording, you were talking about favorite kits.
Yeah.
People love kits nowadays. So you
Yes.
can have your own little kit segment. You can talk about the favorite worst kit of all time,
Yeah.
or maybe you're talking about the Coors kit as well from the 90s.
There was like the big difference is the size of all the kits back then. They were huge, weren't they?
Yeah.
Even when I first started at West Ham, there was just one size. Everyone got a large, and that was it. There was no messing about, so it just drowned you, and it was huge. And I remember the Chelsea kits used to wear like the Coors ones, with the orange and grey. Look at the away kits. Chelsea have always had a tradition of going a bit funky with the away kits. It's been pretty traditional home, but away from home they've always pushed the boat out, so it's been pretty cool.
What do you think about this year's new home kit?
Yeah, I think it's good. I've just the only thing I've got with it is it's because it's got a lot of black in it. It's going to be very hard to sign for like fans.
Oh yeah.
You don't think about that,
Yeah,
because everyone used to black Sharpie, and so everyone's going to have to
Silver,
gold.
gold.
But
Next
actually
level
yeah,
insight
I'm
here.
thinking, yeah. So no, but the silver and the golds, they don't move as well on the jerseys. A little bit of something I can bring to the party there.
Hey, at Nike, we've got the inside track here, honestly. But yeah, so we're here in Boston for the special match, the final whistle on hate. Joe came over with the group, obviously finished your time at Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Found yourself doing the rounds on media.
Yes. Yeah.
Got to see out there, and now you're with Chelsea again. So I think there's a lot that we can kind of touch on with that.
Yeah.
And obviously, the first thing, though, is starting on kind of our time here in Boston. So kind of like, what is your perspective on, obviously the charity side of it, and then obviously the message that the club is partnered with New England to bring?
Well, sometimes it's important, that the clubs can raise awareness and give back to these things. It's a fantastic message, and we all want to be part of it because, and when it's come from two great clubs like Chelsea and New England Revolution, have got just, done this. There's nobody's earning from it. It's just, it's trying to raise awareness against hate, against anti-Semitism and any kind of prejudices that we've got. And football's a great catalyst to bring these things together. So we're glad to be here, and let's make it a celebration of two different cultures, two different football clubs, and come together, and hopefully the fans will have a great night when they go there.
That's fantastic.
Is it a little special for you that it's being played in the States since you have kind of the US connection now?
Yeah, I mean, like it's home from home for me, the US now. I'm a bit sad that my visa actually run out, so I had to go and travel on an ESTA again. So I'm sort of disconnected like that. But I would have stayed for longer. Really, I loved it. Family reasons brought me home, but had a great time in the States, and just only positive memories, and not just in Tampa, playing the away games and seeing all of the places that you wouldn't usually visit. So I had a great time.
So they're obviously playing a ton of different places across the United States. Are there a couple other cities that you want to go back to, and you're kind of a couple of trips back here your next time in the US?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved New York. I love the away trips to New York. I like going places like Louisville, which I didn't usually go to because we went to like the Muhammad Ali museum there, which was fantastic, and I like the culture. Just all the different places. New York's my favourite though.
Okay.
And I've been there before, but I still love it. Every time I go there, I find something new. It's a bit like London.
So are you a New York sports fan now too? Do you root for those teams or?
No, I'm a New York fan in just the city.
Okay.
I'll always be a rowdy. I'll always be Tampa Bay.
Sure.
That's my place. If I'm going to America, first place is Tampa. So, I mean that's my team over here. But I love going to New York for holidays.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
So so we wrapped up that chapter, and you've moved into coaching. Last time we had talked, you said you were doing your badges, you're doing some work at Tampa. What's that transition like been to the youth academy at Chelsea?
Well, the work at Tampa was working with professionals, you know, all from different cultures, which was a good learning curve. And then, pardon me, excuse me. And then when I went to the academy, it's working with kids again from different cultures. But working with the young players is a different skill set you need to get the performance out of them. So, I mean, I'm learning so much from all the great people at the academy, all the great coaches that have taken me under their wing and teaching me. And hopefully, I'm giving the players and the coaches some little bits of knowledge from a long career.
We see it on social. You still put some clips out there. You mixing up with the boys out there?
Yeah. I mean, it's. I join in as much as I can. I think sometimes, you know, sometimes it's easy to demonstrate, and while you're still young enough as a coach, it's important that you do demonstrate, because it's the easiest way of learning. You can see how you're doing it, and while the legs are still working, I might as well. I can join in for 5 or 10 minutes here or there.
Yeah. Getting the rondo, you know.
Yeah, I love the rondo. Yeah, that's my go-to thing every day. If I'm a head coach ever, that'll be me every day. Rondo, 15 minutes
Love
at least.
it.
Yeah, it gets everyone going.
Is there like a key, you know, experience or a moment that you've had in your career that, especially for the younger guys who are just kind of becoming professionals and getting into that mindset, that you would say that you're translating to them right now?
Don't know if it's I don't know if it's pertinent for the young people now, because there's more connection with the fans. I remember as a young man getting an absolute volley off one of the fans. I've gone to take a throw in, and a grown man, I was only 17, and the grown man was just screaming abuse at me and getting on me. And I think, you know, it took me back a little bit, and it threw me from my game for 5 minutes. And then after the game, I learned quickly that, you know, you have to just push everyone's opinions aside and be strong mentally. So I think from that moment, that fella there taught me a valuable lesson that I took. And after that, I didn't really, you know, the only important people to me was myself, my manager, and that's about it really. Do you know what I mean? And then I could just focus on the process. And so I think for these lads now, there's so many things they can, Twitter and Instagrams and things like that. It seems that people can get to them with the negativity. So I think you need to quickly, if you're going to become a player, you need to quickly realise that, draw the line on it, and this is me. I'm playing the football. I'm concentrating on my game. And anything else that comes around it, it's just noise. Push it to the side. And I think, you know, that's a great lesson for any young player. But they've got to find their way with that. They've got to find their moment when they realise that.
So, with going back into Chelsea, going back into the academy, you mentioned that you're happy to have certain other coaches take you under their wing, give you a little bit of experience and guidance. Who maybe are you taking lessons from right now, and who's maybe inspired you even at this phase of your journey as a career in coaching?
Well, yeah, so it's a young career in coaching, and like I said, everyone in the building at some point has helped me with various things. I've worked with Andy Myers and John Harley with the 18s for the majority of the time. I think Joe Edwards is a fantastic coach as well. I think them three are really progressive, and there's other guys I could list out, like the environment there. I think it's not just set up to produce players, which it does because the stats are there. Chelsea Academy produces players for the top leagues in Europe more than any other academy. You know, I think that was a stat from a few years ago, and I think as well it's developing coaches, because there's a real push to, you know, sharing ideas and really, you know, can we get better? Can we get better every day? So in that sense, I think it's a perfect building. And again, I've got to give a shout out to my friend Neil Collins at Tampa Bay Rowdies. If there's anyone out there who wants to check him, I think his career will take him. He'll stick with the MLS because his family and moved out and everything. But the Scottish guy, I think he's really one to look for in the future.
I mean, that's awesome. It's always fun for like us as fans, right, to see a lot of the former players, especially in such a glory time, come back to the club. It's great. So obviously, you know, you're back, but it's great because you can kind of see the pathway to JT at Villa, obviously Frank and Jody at Derby, and so it's it's kind of that progression for us too, of like that transition's happened from our favorite players now getting into management.
Yeah.
It's a new fan path as well. It's like
Yeah.
now, like we would pay attention to the academy teams more. Like I've watched the derby match and I've never done that before.
Exactly.
It's a fun little thing to like kind of take your fandom and spread it to a wider maybe variety of teams and things. So championship playoff, that's all sorts of Chelsea tied in there right now.
I know, and like I said, like you when you're with a club and people come and go. Chelsea was with Chelsea. Players come and they stay. Some stay for a couple of months. Others are there for 20 years. But you're always part of the family and you always look out for them. So John and Frank and Jody, like, be interested to see how that goes for them over the next few weeks. I'm sure they're all on their journeys. They're all and where it ends up, nobody knows. But I'm pretty sure that they're all pretty special guys in that sense. I think they'll be successful, whether it be this season for them or whether it not. But I think all of them will be really talented managers or coaches, wherever they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you check in with them this year as you were kind of getting back into the coaching and see how they were kind of feeling it out?
Yeah, I went to see. I had a little chat with Frank the other day. I went to see him play when they played Brentford. It was a really cracking game, and obviously Ashley Cole plays for them now as well.
That's right.
Yep.
So it's
couple loanees,
Yeah.
Mason and Fikao.
Yeah, the young boys are out there. Speak to John every now and then. So I listen. It's like I'm going to be seeing JT. I think he's playing in the Soccer Aid game at Stamford Bridge. So your paths cross. Once you're in football, your paths cross all the time. But I mean, it's one of them. It is. If they played each other in the final, it'd be like let the best man win.
You imagine that touchline?
Yeah.
Somehow Chelsea finds a way to win.
Yeah. There's a lot of Chelsea there, ain't there?
Yeah.
So if that's at Wembley, I think you might even sell a few tickets to Chelsea fans for that.
I bet.
Yeah.
So have any of the youth players that you're talking to, that you're working on teaching or training now, come up to you and said, "Oh, I remember watching that game," or
these kids, they like to be too cool for school now. So not a lot. I mean, I always chat to them. I mean, they're great lads. They are really good lads, and I think that's another thing that gets pushed aside as well. It's a big responsibility for the club. When you're getting these young lads in from the age of 6 or 7 in the academy, when they're in the building, you have to give them, ethics, and you need to give them some kind of structure. Some of these lads might not get it at home, so you teach them. Little things are important. You say good morning to people. You shake hands after every game. You're respectful, and these things I think are just as important as a coach to teach these young men how to conduct themselves. That's not to say that they're making them into robots. They'll all make mistakes, and we all have. But I think that's vitally important as your role as an academy coach.
I think if you look at the way that Callum Hudson-Odoi and how he carried himself in interviews like this season, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, obviously academy product as well. Even those who've left the club, like Nathaniel Chalobah, like the way that Chelsea as a institution has produced not just fine footballers, but fine individuals who are really positive contributors to the world around them.
Yeah, and that's vital. And again, the club leads the way with games like this tomorrow night. Do you know what I mean? Like, they might not, these young men, they might not really know what anti-Semitism is or any kind of prejudice. They'd be able to learn a bit, and you're developing people, you're developing human beings, and I think that's important. And us as coaches as well, we're learning from them, the new generation, all the the Twitters and all this stuff. So
I think, so what would you say to that? Because I think there is a concern. It's not one that we share, but there were people. Why are Chelsea 2 days after the Premier League season going out and conducting this type of match? And I think that there's obviously a large social responsibility. People are concerned about the final and the impact on that. I mean, you're a player. You've done things like this before, I imagine, in terms of team commitments. What's your perspective on that?
Depends which way you look at it. It could be a welcome distraction. Get the boys out of their environment, coming to meet new people, make it fun. Again, like we were talking about, some things are more important than football. And we need to always understand that. It's not like the cup finals on Saturday, then you'd think maybe the boys will finish this. It's a lovely way to end the season, doing something positive in the world.
Sure.
and then they'll get recovered and they'll start preparing for the final. So it won't be a problem. That's no doubt about that. It won't be a problem.
Well, and I think you look at some of the players who've come over. Reece James is going to be here.
Yeah.
Trevor Toloba's going to be here.
Yeah.
Conor Gallagher. Like we've seen a lot of youth players that maybe you've seen, either on loan or at the academy, are going to get a chance to play here now, and that's going to be a great opportunity for them too.
That's great. And I mean, and again, it would have been nice for a few of the boys to a few more minutes. Particularly because the campaign was so long with the Europa League, but. It's just great that they're here. Great that, hopefully they can all, pardon me, do themselves justice tomorrow night. And I'm sure they will because they're all good kids.
Is there anyone in particular, as you've kind of come back to the youth system, that you're looking at in the next season or two to make a huge impact as we...
It would be unfair of me to say one player. Do you know what I mean? There's so
Fair
many
enough,
of them. I don't. We will talk off air, but because the guys might end up listening to the show, but I don't want them thinking that there's a favourite out there. But there's a few. Put it this way, there'll be some more players coming in. There'll be the next Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Reece James. I think, although I've not seen him much this year, he's been on loan, but I think he's one that can come and. Reece James and obviously Ruben's made the step now. He's a first team player. Reece James will be a first team player. There's so many.
All right. So we don't always have the chance to sit down with a former professional and get opinions. What was the title race like this season? And then also the race for top four. There was two clear races, but to have like Liverpool lose one match all season, and you have teams at 98 and 97 points, essentially setting the wrong records from a team's perspective. But what is that like from your perspective of like watching these teams, City rattling 14 off in a row, kind of the pressure and just kind of the atmosphere that goes into that? Like, what was that like for you, your perspective?
I think that, do you know, it's the first time when genuinely I think two teams deserve to be champions. Like it's both of them were just unbelievable. I mean, the race for the fourth place was like a little bit of a nobody could get a win, could they? It was like it was
the opposite of what we watched. on the other side.
Like it was. But them two teams, man, it was staggering. The pressure that going into games is just cranked up a notch. And credit to both managers. Like I said, I think Pep and Jurgen Klopp were just outstanding in both of them in that running, and like they both deserve to be champions. Really, as a footballer, I feel for the Liverpool players because it will hurt so much because I don't think they could do any more than what they did.
Sure.
But then again, you leave knowing that you've left it all in the ring. So that's the only thing I can say, that they've left it all out there. But it's going to be another year.
Do you think back to the 2009-10, where you guys in United were kind of neck and neck at the end, and you obviously scored a crucial goal to kind of cement the place at the top of the table. I mean, what's the pressure like in that? I mean, you're playing your direct rival at the end, and you obviously contribute a huge goal.
I think probably players are probably the coolest people in the building because you're the only ones who've got control over your destiny. So you just vote for that 90 minutes. It's a big game. You get prepared. You do everything you usually do. So as soon as the game's, you're in your routine and you're in your moment. So it was never a problem for me. I love playing in them pressure games. And that's what I miss now. I think that's probably the reason when players can get to the top, because they can do that. They can sort of block it out. I don't know what it is mentally, but I don't ever remember feeling any more nervous in them particular games, as weirdly as it is. I just did it.
Maybe probably a little bit more excited, right? For the opportunity.
Yeah. Do you know what? I just think it was just business, really. Just business. And I think that's looking like I was like watching games. I'm not a Liverpool fan or a Man City fan, but I was watching it going, oh, they must be so nervous. But they probably wasn't the players. They were probably all right. Do you know what I said? It's all the fans, the coaches, everyone else that was like panicking.
Right.
And I think, like I said, credit goes to both managers. Really, I think they dealt with everything spot on. It was was a proper title running, weren't it? It was great. Yeah.
How did you feel about Chelsea's third place finish, kind of trending at the end and kind of cementing their place in the Champions League next year?
I think it's great. I think, you know, you look at the manager here, the gaffer. He's come in and he's got 2 cup finals and a third place finish. I mean, it's not what we want in the grand scheme of things, but there's a big gap to get between us and Liverpool and Man City. So we're the best of the rest, and I think the manager needs a bit of credit for that as well, because, you know, he's had some difficult moments, but, you know, let's look at that. Let's take that into next season now. Let's finish the season strong, win a trophy, because at the end of the day, Liverpool could end up winning nothing, and Chelsea would have won something. You know,
we don't really want to think about that reality, though.
No, just shut your curtains. Shut your curtains.
So, what is your prediction for the Champions League final coming up?
I think Liverpool will win. I do. I think Liverpool will win.
I think the fate of the world depends on it.
Yeah.
You told us you couldn't move to Spurs. So.
Of course, you can't have Spurs win it. Like I said, all my pals are Spurs, and there's grown men crying on the phone to me in the semi-final night. So we had some good fun. I'm thinking about having a barbecue around my house and getting a big screen out in the garden and getting all my pals are Spurs, all of them, and getting them round and then
To watch them cry?
watch them cry when they lose it. Yeah, it's nasty, really.
It's a bit of a gamble, but if it pays off,
It's a big gamble.
that
mate.
CCTV
Well, I can
footage is
always-
gonna be.
Yeah. I can get some security if they do win and just get them thrown out for trespassing. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'd be good fun. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm only like, when you're in the game, and even it's fun, ain't it? Do you know what I mean? You have these banter, like my family are friends of Spurs and, you know, West Ham and it's a few Chelsea, but it is good. I do like the Tottenham Chelsea games in particular.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to the US, Joe. It's
Thank
always
you.
a blast to have you here. Enjoy sunny Tampa when you get down there
I
to
will.
take in some vitamin D. Thank you for being here to help promote the match as well.
Thank you.
I think that's as much fun as we get to have talking about other things. Like, that is why we're all here. We are massive supporters of this movement, of the actions that the club are taking. We're really proud of it too, and so we've been trying to promote it as well. So again, thank you for also kind of just publicly supporting it and
No, thank
pushing
you.
it.
Thank you guys. You're doing a great job spreading the word.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Joe. It's a blast as always.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
It's a wrap. Nice.
Yeah. Good.